Today's video is going to be a brutally honest review of the new Secretlab Titan Evo 2022 gaming chair, which I have been sitting in for nearly 4 months. Now, a lot of the reviews on this chair are from people who had only been sitting in this chair for maybe 30 days, and while it's been tempting to rush out a video, I knew I needed to get this review right based on some of the early critiques I was seeing online. Now, a few months ago, Secretlab reached out to see if I wanted to test out the 2022 model, and considering I had some concerns about the model, I agreed to have them send it my way. Now, I do want to be very, very clear and very upfront about this video. Secretlab did send this chair to me at no cost, but there are no strings attached. There was no promise of me making a video on this. They are not paying me to say anything. It's not sponsored. I can say whatever I want because nothing was agreed on. And during these last couple years, I've tested out other more budget-friendly gaming chairs, and I will link to those down in the description for those who simply can't justify paying the higher price tag for Secretlab chairs. Now, I can confidently tell you this from my different chair testing. There is a difference between a $400 to $500 Secretlab chair and your typical $200 to $300 gaming chair. So let's go through some of the concerns that others have had and what my experience with this chair has been. First, let's talk about back pain. This is a big topic here. This is a critique you will hear a lot about gaming chairs. They are not good for your back. They're built for style, not for comfort, and for the most part, I 100% agree with those critics. Your typical gaming chair has two options when it comes to back support: an uncomfortable lumbar pillow that forces you to sit pretty awkwardly, or just take it off and you don't really get any support at all. The massive selling point of the Titan series from Secretlab is the built-in lumbar support. This means it's not all or nothing like most gaming chairs are. You can adjust the support to be just the right amount for your back. And with the 2022 model, they took it to a new level by adding a second knob that lets you adjust the height of your lumbar support as well. This is obviously an improvement over the previous year, but I wouldn't say it's made enough of a difference in my experience to justify, current Titan owners to rush out and upgrade their chair. Another complaint, and I'm gonna go ahead and just lump this in with back pain, it's that Secretlab chairs are too firm and that the 2022 chair is no different. And I agree with that. Secretlab chairs are much more firm when you first sit in them compared to other gaming chairs. I would argue, however, that you don't want a chair to be super soft on day one because soft does not equal support. Imagine what that chair is going to feel like on month 4 and 1 year. That softness is going to be broken down even more. Here's what it all comes down to. I had pretty consistent lower back pain before moving to a Secretlab chair, and that was probably because I was sitting in a cheap office chair from Staples for 12 hours a day. But since moving to Secretlab, my back pain has been virtually gone with the exception of when I do something stupid outside. For others, however, it's been the opposite, where they've experienced pain because of a Secretlab chair. It really comes down to body type, and that's very difficult to predict. Is a Herman Miller chair going to be better for your back support? It better be, because those chairs are literally 3 times the price of a Secretlab chair. Secretlab is a unique breed because what they're trying to do is make a hybrid of a stylish gaming chair and a ergonomic chair. And that's what you're paying for. I wouldn't say this is the chair that's going to solve your back pain, but I will say that out of all the gaming chairs I've tried, this is going to be one of the best solutions if you are really wanting a gaming chair. 2 new additions to the 2022 model was magnetic armrests and making the memory foam pillow magnetic. The complaints? The magnetic armrests rattle really easy, and the magnetic pillow doesn't stay on very well. Now let's back up for a second. Gaming chairs in general tend to have a lot of flexibility in how you can adjust the armrests, and Secretlab is no different there. It's not just the height like a standard office chair, but also how close do you want them to the desk? How close do you want them to your body? What angle do you want? So to expect a rock solid arm isn't super realistic with all of the different mechanics involved in these armrests. Having said that, the very loose armrests in the 2022 model is absolutely real. My other gaming chairs, even my other Secretlab gaming chairs, they've got a little bit of a wiggle when you wiggle that armrest. but the 2022 model takes that wiggle to a whole new level. Most are assuming it's because the cushions on these chairs are now removable, but that's not why. When you remove the magnetic cover, you can see that it's still loose and that the 4 magnetic points are all on top. So the mechanics underneath should be the same as previous years and have nothing to do with the magnetic functionality. So something happened with this year's chair where the execution was just not great. It's not enough for me to notice when I'm actually using the chair, but it is something to note. In my opinion, the magnetic armrests are a very gimmicky addition. I'm guessing the point of this is to make it easy if you need to swap out armrests for new ones in the future once these are worn out, but based on how durable and solid my other Secretlab armrests are and how these ones are panning out so far, I don't ever see a need for that, and by the time they would get that worn down, I imagine the whole chair will be worn down and it will just be time for a new chair. As for the pillow, I personally haven't had any issues with this model. It's just as soft and supportive as other years, but they have added 4 magnets in the pillow and then presumably have a metal plate in the top back side of the chair. I could see this being an issue if you bought a model that is just too tall for you. At some point, the metal plate does end and the pillow will have nothing to stick on. So perhaps that's what's causing some sliding issues. I can only recall one YouTuber that had sliding issues, but it's not a common issue. So I imagine maybe he got a chair that was a little bit too tall for him and that's what was causing the sliding. And as a reminder, I am 6'3" and this is the regular model that I'm sitting in. And I would say it's been the perfect size for me. Secretlab does have their own sizing chart on their website, but in the video description, I'll give you a real simple to understand chart because theirs can kind of be confusing depending on where you fall with your height and weight. Now, one thing I like to pay attention to that many other reviews don't tend to cover is the height of the chair. When measuring from the floor to the top of the seat, the 2022 model at its max height is 1.5 inches shorter and it sits 1 inch lower at the lowest height. Whether that's a pro or con really depends on you and your desk situation and your height. Another change Secretlab made this year is supposedly the PU leather and SoftWeave fabric is stronger on the new model, and while I haven't had a chance to test out the new PU leather, I can say that the SoftWeave, which is what I own on the 2022 model, is definitely a stronger, more durable material. Not that the 2020 SoftWeave was weak, but it's noticeably softer to the touch than the 2022 model is. If you have pets or you're worried of tearing the SoftWeave somehow, then the 2022 model is definitely a positive upgrade. Otherwise, I still think I prefer that subtle softness that the older model gives, but at the end of the day, you know, it's not a big difference with your clothes on. But for those of you who sit butt naked in your chair, which based on past comments is apparently a lot of you, this is definitely something to consider. One last concern I do have with this chair, and it's nothing major because it can easily be fixed with some WD-40 or, you know, maybe even some adjusting of the tightness of the bolts, but I have started to notice some subtle squeaking on this chair that I have not had on my other Secretlab chairs even to this day. This is something I would expect maybe a year or two, not 4 months in. Again, could be a number of things, including how I tighten the chair. It's just something worth noting. Comparing it to other gaming chair brands I've tested so far, the 2022 chair is definitely worth that price jump from something like $300 to the $500 range that this chair usually sits in. However, if I was someone who currently does not own a Secretlab chair and I'm looking at the 2022 model or the 2020 model, the upgrades on the 2022, in my opinion, just don't justify the extra cost. There's something about that 2020 Titan chair that Secretlab just got right. No gimmicks, it was just a really solid chair that will last for years to come. I would say the only reason that you would get a 2022 over a 2020 is if you are a shorter person and you're looking at the 2020 Omega chair. That chair is a lot more similar to the other gaming chairs on the market, and it doesn't get you the features like built-in lumbar support that the Titan series gets you. And that was the biggest change that they made with the 2022 lineup. They made all of the models the same, great features. The only difference is the size of the chair. The SoftWeave material has really grown on me, and in my opinion, it's worth the upgrade from the PU leather, especially if you're in a climate that changes between really hot and really cold. It's just got a good cozy feel to it, and the temperature of the chair is very consistent. With that said, I did do an in-depth comparison on the two fabrics. You can check that video out right here, and be sure to drop a like on your way out if this video was helpful, and I will see you over there.